Hello, and a very warm welcome to 50 Plus Timeless Wisdom. Today, I'd like to start by asking you a question. If you could give a truly priceless gift to your children, your grandchildren, and even their children to come, what would it be? It wouldn't be an object you can buy in a store. For so many of us, as we enter our 70s and beyond, we realize that the most precious treasure we have to offer is our own life story. It's the collection of moments, the lessons learned, the laughter, and the tears that have shaped us. Your story is a unique thread in the grand tapestry of your family's history, and today, we're going to explore how you can begin to write it down, creating a legacy that will be cherished for generations. Now, I can almost hear the first thought that might pop into your head. Picture an older gentleman with kind, thoughtful eyes, sitting in his favorite armchair, thinking to himself, "But my life wasn't anything special. I didn't climb mountains or become a movie star." Or perhaps you can imagine a lovely woman in her late 70s, looking at a blank page and feeling, "But I'm not a writer. I wouldn't even know where to begin." These feelings are completely normal, but let me offer a different perspective. Every single life is extraordinary because no one else has lived it. The world doesn't need another grand adventure novel. What your family craves is the authentic story of you. They want to know about the small moments, the smell of your mother's kitchen, the feeling of your first love, the challenges you overcame to build a life. This isn't about literary perfection, it is about connection, preservation, and love. Writing your memoir is a profound act with benefits that reach far beyond just a finished book. Firstly, it is the ultimate legacy for your family. Imagine your great-grandchild, decades from now, reading your words and understanding where their own resilience or their love of gardening came from. Your story provides roots, a sense of belonging that is truly priceless. Secondly, it is a journey of self-discovery for you. As a senior man or woman begins to write, they often connect the dots of their own life in new and surprising ways. You might find a deeper understanding of your own choices, or a new appreciation for the strength you showed during difficult times. And finally, it can be a source of healing. For many older adults, gently writing about challenging periods can be a way to make peace with the past, to see the wisdom gained from hardship, and to honor the full, complex journey of your life. So, where do we start on this meaningful adventure? We begin not with a blank page and the pressure to write, but with something much more joyful, a treasure hunt for your memories. For the rest of this week, I invite you to become a gentle archaeologist of your own life. Picture a senior couple, sitting together at their sunlit dining table, smiling as they page through old black and white photo albums. That is your first task. Pull out those dusty boxes of photographs. Look at the faces, the clothes, the places. Then, find any old letters or postcards you might have saved. Read the words written by a younger you, or by loved ones from the past. Find that old family recipe book, a piece of jewelry passed down, or a special tool you used in your career. Don't write anything down yet if you don't want to. Just touch these objects. Look at these photos. Allow the memories and feelings to surface gently. This simple act of gathering is the true first step. It is about reconnecting with the moments that shaped you and gathering the precious threads you will soon weave into a story only you can tell. So now, you may have a table or a corner of your room filled with these beautiful treasures from your life's journey. Perhaps an older gentleman in a sunny Florida room is looking at an old photograph from his youth, a smile playing on his lips. Or maybe a woman in her 70s is gently touching a faded, handwritten letter from her late husband. These objects are more than just things, they are doorways to the past. The question now is, how do we step through those doors? How do we take these wonderful, scattered memories and begin to weave them into a story that can be shared? This next phase is all about brainstorming and giving your memories a shape that feels right for you. One of the most straightforward methods for any senior to begin with is to create a life timeline. Now, this doesn't need to be a complex historical document. Picture a retiree in a bright, comfortable shirt, taking a large piece of paper and simply drawing a long line across it. On one end, he writes his birth year, on the other, the current year. Then, he just starts filling in the big moments in between. You might see him jotting down milestones like, moved to Florida in '98, celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary, welcomed our first great-grandchild. This isn't about getting every date perfect, it's about creating a visual map of your journey, seeing the major chapters of your life laid out before you. However, for some of us, life doesn't always feel like a straight line. Sometimes, it's more like a beautiful tapestry woven with different threads of experience. If that sounds more like you, you might prefer a thematic approach. Instead of thinking chronologically, you can brainstorm memories based on different themes. Imagine a thoughtful senior woman, sitting on her lanai with a notebook, making a few different lists. One list could be, my greatest adventures, another, the biggest challenges I overcame, or, lessons I learned about love, or perhaps, my favorite memories as a grandparent. You can use your treasures to help you. Does that old seashell remind you of family vacations to the coast? Does that gardening tool spark stories of your beautiful Florida garden? This method allows an older writer to group their stories in a way that feels emotionally meaningful, rather than being confined by a calendar. There is no right or wrong way, the best approach is simply the one that makes you, a person with a rich history, feel most inspired to begin. Now, here is a crucial piece of advice that can lift a great weight off your shoulders: you do not have to write down everything that has ever happened to you. A memoir is different from an autobiography. Think of it this way: an autobiography is the entire, detailed map of a country. A memoir, on the other hand, is a beautiful, personal guidebook to its most scenic routes, its most historic cities, or its most peaceful forests. You get to be the tour guide of your own life. You choose what stories are most important to tell. Feel free to choose a focus. Perhaps a grandfather decides his memoir will simply be a collection of his most cherished stories for his grandchildren. Or maybe a woman who has lived a full life wants to focus on a specific, transformative period, like her career journey or her experiences raising a family. You could even structure your story around a specific theme, like your lifelong passion for fishing in the Gulf. By narrowing your focus, the project becomes much less daunting and much more joyful. Your task for now is simply to choose your approach, timeline or themes, and begin to jot down a list of maybe 10 to 15 key moments or stories you'd like to share. This list is your roadmap. In our final part, we'll explore the gentle, joyful act of taking that map and turning your memories into words on a page. So now, you have your roadmap, that beautiful list of moments that make up the unique landscape of your life. You have your treasures and your chosen theme or timeline. The final, wonderful step is to bring these moments to life with words. And I want to assure you, this can be one of the most joyful and rewarding parts of the entire process. The secret is to make it as simple and pressure-free as possible. The first piece of advice is perhaps the most important: just write, and don't worry about editing. Imagine an older woman in her late 70s, a warm cup of tea beside her, simply letting her thoughts and memories flow onto the page. She isn't worrying about perfect grammar or spelling. That can all be polished later. This first draft is just for you. Its only purpose is to get the stories out of your heart and onto the paper. To make your stories truly come alive for your family, try to show, rather than just tell. What does that mean? Instead of writing, "My childhood home was nice," try to show it through sensory details. For example, a man in his 80s might write, "I can still smell the scent of my mother's apple pie drifting from the kitchen of our small house on Elm Street, and I remember the feel of the worn, wooden floorboards under my bare feet." By describing what you saw, heard, smelled, tasted, and touched, you transport your reader directly into your memories. Another tip is to set small, consistent goals. You don't need to write for hours. Think of it like tending to a garden: you do a little bit each day. Perhaps a senior decides to write for just 15 or 20 minutes each morning with their coffee. That small, consistent practice can produce a beautiful manuscript over time without ever feeling overwhelming. And for those of us whose hands might not write as easily as they used to, or for whom typing is a chore, there is a wonderful alternative. Picture a gentleman in his 80s, sitting in a comfortable chair and simply telling his stories into a smartphone's voice recorder. This is a powerful way to capture your memories in your own voice, with all its unique warmth and character. These recordings can later be transcribed by a family member or a service. Once your stories are captured, either on paper or in audio, you can think about the joy of sharing your legacy. This doesn't mean you need to get a book published. The most meaningful ways to share are often the most personal. Imagine gathering your written stories, perhaps with some of the photos you found, and putting them into a beautiful binder to give to your children and grandchildren as a Christmas or birthday gift. You could create a simple, private blog where you post a new story each week for family members around the world to read and comment on. Or, if you used a voice recorder, you can share the audio files directly. Picture a family gathered together, with young grandchildren listening intently to their grandfather's recorded voice, hearing his life stories in his own words. That is a truly priceless gift. This entire journey of writing your memoir is a profound act of love. It's a gift of love to yourself, as you honor and make peace with your own incredible life story. And it is a gift of love to your family, connecting them to their roots and sharing a part of yourself that will live on forever. Your story matters. It is a treasure. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey today at 50 Plus Timeless Wisdom. We hope this guide has inspired you to begin capturing your own unique and precious story. If you found this video helpful, we would be so grateful if you'd give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. And please, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our channel, 50 Plus Timeless Wisdom, and click that notification bell so you won't miss our weekly videos filled with practical tips and inspiration. We look forward to seeing you again. Be well.